Living the high life. Well, here's the good news. Jeep said I could get a Jeep Renegade and drive it for a week. Bad news is I have to drive south of the border and pick it up at the Mexican factory. Hello, anybody home? ¿A qué horas van a la casa, señora? Must be siesta time. Well, it must be here somewhere. I got the key, so let's go hunt it down. There's nothing worse than running into a nest of South American killer bees. And here we have a nest. They're buzzing around my head, getting very agitated. I think I better get out of here. Let's go find my vehicle. Well, let's see. Ah, this must be it. A nice orange Renegade. Okay, let's hop in, drive to our test facility, and see what we've got here. Uh-oh, looks like the Border Patrol closed the border crossing gate. Might be down here for a while. Well, we found one gate unlocked, so let's go to our test facility and take a closer look at this Jeep. Alright, I'm just kidding. This isn't really the Mexican border. We really didn't go down to Mexico, and that really wasn't the Jeep factory. Just my idea of sick humor. But I still think it was funny, regardless of who you are. The Renegade's not the fanciest looking vehicle I've ever seen, but this orange paint with black highlights definitely makes it look pretty nice. This is the Trailhawk version of the Renegade, which has off-road features you don't get in a regular Renegade. And of course, it means it costs more money. We get larger wheels and tires for clearing rocks and increased ride height, along with 4 skid plates for extra protection. Down there somewhere. Red tow hook in the rear. Dual tow hooks on the front. Redesigned bumpers for better approach and departure angles. There's an all-wheel drive system with setting for snow, sand, mud, rock. A 4-wheel drive low. I think it's a 20-to-1 crawl ratio, if I read the book right. And 4-wheel drive lock. Hill descent control. And last but not least, something you need if you're going off-road but don't get in a lot of vehicles, a real spare tire, full size too. For all this gear, here's what you're paying. Not bad, really, but wait, there's more. An extra $6.95 for the LED light package. Let's take these out right now and see how they work. It's dark enough. Let's take these headlights out and see what they do. Look pretty bright to me. Here we have the low beams on the building 100 feet away. Very bright, but not much height. Go to high beam. Very, very bright. Ordinarily we would go to a building 300 feet away, but the building's locked up and the gate's locked tonight, so we can't do that. Well, we can't do a building 300 feet away test. We can do the dark alley test, and as you can see, very, very bright. I've been driving these at night for several days, and these are excellent headlights, I can tell you. No issues at all. $1,245 for the navigation system. $1,895 for the interior package, which has leather seats, heated seats. You know the drill, stuff we really don't need. $1,595 for this power sunroof. Toss in $695 for the stereo system. Add a few other minor goodies, and there's your tab. Wowee. Sure went up in a hurry, didn't it? A lot of the hardcore Jeep Wrangler owners say this isn't a real Jeep. They hate this vehicle. They say it's just a Fiat 500X. in different clothing, and technically that might be true, but 70,000 of these are sold every year compared to the 500X at 5,000. Unless you go to Europe, it's 90,000 for the 500X. But the question is, can this perform off-road or not? And that's the bottom line. We'll find out later in the video. For all you Wranglers out there that hate the Renegade, let me tell you something. It wasn't for the money Fiat Chrysler makes off these Renegades and some other non-Wranglers. They wouldn't have the money to develop the Wrangler and make all the improvements they have, nor would they have the money to bring out the Jeep Gladiator pickup truck. The money they're making off this is helping you with your Wrangler development, so I wouldn't complain too much. It's money in everybody's pocket. The Renegade gets a new engine for 2019 and 2020, a tiny 1.3 liter turbo putting out 177 horsepower, 200 pounds-feet of torque, hooked to a 9-speed automatic transmission, fuel economy rated at 22 in the city, 27 on the highway. Let's take a look at the cabin. Second row seating, kind of a tight fit back here. The seats do fold down for more storage though. I'm told the cargo area is 30 cubic feet with the second row seating up. Must be true. There are two things I hate about this vehicle, so I'm just going to get it out of the way. Number one, I do not like electronic parking brakes. This one I despise even more. I keep starting the car up, put it in drive. The vehicle won't move because the brake's on. I'm tired of pushing this button to get out of the driveway. I really am. Give me a good old-fashioned manual parking brake with an old-fashioned handle, please. I know it's a bit more expensive to do, but it would be nice to have. Secondly, I'm sick and tired of these plastic covers manufacturers are putting over gauges that picks up all these reflections at certain times of the day, preventing you from reading the information you're looking for. This is becoming epidemic on other brands too, especially Toyotas, Lexus, the new Ram trucks, some Hondas. And what really gets me is, why is it I notice this instead of the manufacturers noting this? From the drawing board, prototype, testing, does anyone test drive these and notice these problems at the factory? Apparently not. Either that or they don't care. When I can read it, I do appreciate the tire pressure readout. Looks like we're right on the money. The Renegade has the engine start-stop that shuts the motor down at stoplights to save fuel, which it really doesn't. Just wears the engine out. You can turn it off by pressing this, which I do often. Some vehicles don't have a disconnect switch. You'd be surprised. Not a problem here on the Renegade. The climate controls are easy to use. Simple knob, few buttons. For the radio, we get a volume knob, a tuning knob, very easy to use. And going back to the gauge cluster, very nice design when you can see it. Lots of useful information in the middle there. Okay, we're done with the first half of the video. Second half of the video, we're going to do some driving. So let's get rolling. Even though the power steering's electric, it feels hydraulic. Very responsive, no complaints here. This isn't a sports car, but let's take it on the turning circle anyway. Maybe we can flip it over and impress everybody. That'd give me more views. A lot of body lean, as you would expect on a high ground clearance vehicle, but hang in there pretty good. As we do in all my videos, we're going to take some mild speed bumps, around 20 miles per hour, to evaluate the suspension performance on impact. That was number one. Not bad. Here comes bump number two. Some sharp thumping, but nothing serious. Number three. Here's the nasty one. Huh. Not much different than the milder ones. I'm surprised. This engine sounds like what it is, an overrated sewing machine motor with a turbo tacked on. Kind of noisy, but hey, if it works, it works. Let's do a 0 to 60 run. Come on, let's go. Ah, now we go. Turbo finally kicked in. Nice brakes. I don't have my stopwatch. I'm told the 0 to 60 time is 8.9 seconds. That sounds about right. Not a dragster, that's for sure. So far I've been getting 22 mpg in city driving. We'll take this out on the freeway, see if we can bump up this figure a bit. Ordinarily, a box-shaped vehicle like this would generate lots of wind noise. Doesn't seem to be the case here. This is a pretty quiet vehicle. I'm rather surprised. You would think a vehicle with 9 speeds in the transmission would have lots of overdrive gears for lower RPM cruising on the freeway. I guess that's not the case on the Trailhawk. We're doing 75 miles per hour. We're pulling a rather high 2,500 RPM. Should be interesting to see how that affects fuel economy. We'll know soon enough. I was getting 32 miles to the gallon, but did a bit of passing, so it dropped to 28.9 and 46 miles of freeway driving. I would say that's a rather respectable figure. We're going to take this off-road and do some ranch patrolling, and I have to stop by the ranch house and get some supplies. And wow, that storm did a bit of damage, didn't it? Gonna need some touch-up work on this building. This is our secret underground tunnel that will take us out to the back end of the ranch. Let's do it. This all-wheel drive system works pretty good in soft sand. Great stability. I wanted to get some serious off-roading done today, but unfortunately from the storm last night, we do have some quicksand out here, so you got to be careful. Yeah, that storm definitely washed away most of the road. Gonna be Crater City out here. This suspension does a pretty good job of absorbing impacts off the pavement. No complaints here. We had plans to do a lot of off-roading today, but most of the roads are washed out, and I don't want to get stuck. Did get to see some good scenery, though. I will have to say I'm very impressed with this vehicle as an off-roader, especially the suspension does a great job absorbing all the impacts on these rocks, ruts, and dirt holes. For the price point they're charging, I'd say it's a pretty good deal thus far. If you can get away with all the fluff like sunroof and leather interior, you don't need that. I'm also impressed with this tiny engine. The turbo system puts out plenty of torque for climbing hills. I never felt strained when it comes down to it. Got some good pickup too. One feature I like about the Jeep Renegade is its narrow width, which allows you to squeeze into tight spaces bigger vehicles can't do. Which comes in handy when you have these nasty thorn bushes on both sides. Keeps your paint from getting scratched up. Thus far, I'm very impressed with the fuel economy we're getting on this off-road trip. Almost 17 miles, just under 19 miles to the gallon. You can't complain about that. Well, we're done with ranch patrol. Looks like we're at the end of the line. So the question is, what do I think of this Jeep Trailhawk after a week of driving? If you read a lot of consumer magazines, they'll probably tell you that the base Renegade isn't much competition for the Japanese and Korean vehicles in this class bracket. There might be some truth to that. When it comes to the Trailhawk, it's a totally different story. First of all, there are very few compact SUVs that have the off-road ability of the Trailhawk, especially a system like this with the snow, sand, mud, and rock dial and the four-wheel drive low range. If you do find a compact SUV with this off-road ability that we get on this Jeep, it's going to cost a lot more than the base $28,000 we see here. We drove the Toyota RAV Adventure SUV a few weeks ago. Had a similar off-road system as we see here, but with a starting price of $33,000 and in sticker of just over $40,000. It was a lot more than the base $28,000 of the Jeep Renegade Trailhawk we see here. Lots more. Would I pay $36,000 for a Jeep Renegade Trailhawk? No, I wouldn't go that high. I don't need a sunroof and leather seats and navigation. But if I could find one for less than 30 grand sticker and add the usual discounts that Chrysler dealers give, you might be able to get one for close to 26 grand, and I'd say that's a pretty good deal for what you're getting, if you like off-roading anyway. In the end, I don't think it's really fair to compare the base Renegade with the Trailhawk Renegade. As far as I'm concerned, two completely different vehicles. If you're looking for an off-road vehicle but don't want to go bankrupt with high monthly payments, give this Jeep Renegade Trailhawk a look.